Yeah, welcome again, CnR punks, to another episode of the CnR Radio Talk Show with Ali and Cyberg, with your host Rashawn here. Shout out to everyone listening live from the in-game service CnR, playing Los Santos and the Bad City Los Venturas right now, and the CnR IRC channels. Before we start here, I want to address something, alright? So, last week I got word that players listening in game were mad whenever Cyberg started to talk, even though he didn't talk very much. You know, I encouraged Cyberg to give his thoughts and have a reaction whenever needed. Yeah. If he says something dumb, then of course I'll check him on it. And I'm waiting for something in particular for him to say that's dumb. And then I'll rip him for it. But if he does, I'll check him. Okay, so anyway, let's get into it. So we've got our guest here, KyleSmith. Say hello to the audience. KyleSmith.
Hello, everybody. I hope everybody is well, and I hope everybody can actually understand me. If you can't, I'm sure some translations will be provided afterwards in the video.
Yes, Ali will be manager of the British English to American English translation. Anyway, we'll go into what you wanted to talk about, but the first question, always the easiest, always the baddie. When and how did you find CnR?
Well, I believe I was friends with somebody from high school, and he introduced me to Samp, and I just think it was just by luck that I came across Crazy Bob's Cops and Robbers. I think because I've always had an interest in kind of cops, I won't say the robbers kind of side, it kind of attracted me, and that was back in around 2009, so it just went from there, really.
You said like a friend showed you Samp or something like that?
Yeah, he's from school, but unfortunately it kind of didn't really appeal to him, so I think he just played on like role play and stunt service.
Yeah, that's similar to the thing that Warlord talked about last week. Snitty RP servers.
Definitely not my kind of cup of tea. I kind of prefer the kind of relaxed kind of environment that Crazy Bob offers.
Yeah, I know, that's true. CnR, these kind of servers, like, there used to be Team Neo. Remember Team Neo's Cops and Robbers? There's your Cops and Robbers, which we'll get into later. But Crazy Bob's obviously is the.
I remember that Neo Cops and Robbers, that was quite a big. It was kind of between Crazy Bob's and Neo's, but that unfortunately that kind of died. But I mean, Crazy Bob's kind of has taken over the CnR kind of community just in general. It's blown up really. It's everybody kind of looks up to Crazy Bob as kind of the godfather of CnR really.
Pretty much, he is the messiah. I didn't want to say that. Of CnR.
You definitely could say that.
Definitely. All right, so, as last week, we went from that to a more deep, snitty question. All right, so last week, we talked about Warlord's traineeism. So we'll get into one of the lowlights of your CnR career here back in 2011, the keylogging thing. All right, so the keylogging thing. So I looked at that topic yesterday and today,
mm-hmm.
And even back then I was confused to how this could happen. But allegedly, and correct me if I'm wrong, you sent a virus or keylogger to Coed. Then you got into his account and took his money. Is that accurate? Is that semi-accurate?
Yeah, you definitely could say that. I think when people kind of do that kind of thing, you kind of don't think of the ramifications that it essentially could cause in the long term. You kind of only think of the short term kind of benefits. But yeah, that sums it up pretty right. Yeah.
Yeah, because at first the confusion was at first you talked about how you couldn't control how Facebook sends random messages.
Yes. I mean, you kind of try and blame it on someone else, but then when the evidence is kind of substantial, you could just got to really just admit it and just say, I've fucked up basically. Actually, can I swear on here?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So that's basically it, really. You kind of just have to admit to your mistakes and just try and make the best of that situation, which is pretty hard to do.
Yeah, that reminds me of when celebrities leak pictures of themselves on Snapchat by accident, and they say, "Oh, I got hacked." Okay, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. I got hacked.
Well, I think you'd actually be surprised at the amount of actual leaks that they actually put out there on purpose. And I'm kind of going off topic, but it's exactly the same as kind of like presidential kind of leaks. A lot of the time, they're actually put out there by themselves to kind of get that information out to the public.
And honestly, if it was me, if I want to leak something, I'll do it. I'll put my name on it. Right? I'm that kind of person. But you were targeting co-ed, right? Well, what kind of beef, if anything, did you have with co-ed back
then? What beef did I have with co-ed?
Yeah, like what problems did you have?
No, I know what you said. I know what beef means. I just didn't wanted just to clarify your question. Yeah, no, literally, I know we're quite good friends now, but there was no kind of beef between us really. It's just that I kind of seen him as an easy target at the time, unfortunately. But the thing is, I did send it to a couple other people, but they definitely had a brain inside because they didn't fall for it. It was just co-ed at the time that fell for it. I think I sent it to Dr. Vista as well, but he was too switched on.
And you're lucky. I guess you're not lucky that you didn't do it in 2017 with the amount of PH and Albanian players who hook, line, sinker all the time. That reminds me, when these players, they ask for password changes, and 90% of the people that ask for that are PH or Albanian internet cafe players. It's either, this guy, he looked over my shoulder, now he knows my password, or he already stole the account and now wants to take it and wants to trick me to do it. It's an easier target in 2017. Not that I want to encourage the share robbers out there to go steal accounts, but screw you. But I posted in that topic about the Keylogging snit, and I was very hostile in it. I thought you were a punk and a fool, as I say to many people. And even back then, I was waiting for you to get banned. I was like, how is this guy? How did he not get banned? How did you not get banned?
I did. It's not actually commonly known that I actually did get banned. I think once you do it, you kind of feel that, even though you know it's wrong at the time, you kind of once I did that, you kind of instantly feel that kind of regret and remorse, because at the end of the day, we are human at the end of the day, so we kind of do have some kind of guilt deep down. So instantly, as soon as I did it, I knew it was wrong, and I gave co-ed his money back and his house, and I even gave him extra top up of money as well. And it was actually Afi who banned me. I actually PM'd him. I says, could you give me my punishment? And I actually did get banned for it. Yeah.
I bet that I didn't know that. Well, co-ed in the years after that kind of was a sketchy guy. I mean, a few years later, he posted a troll topic on the forum saying that Sanatan 2 had died in Turkey. Some Finnish war thing that doesn't make sense.
I thought that was somebody says that co-ed died. I thought it wasn't the other way around.
Oh, it was the other way around. How about that?
Apparently, he actually got injured because he was doing his military service, and that's compulsory in Turkey. He flew back from Sweden, I think it was, to Turkey to complete that, and nobody heard of him for ages. And that was actually because he actually was injured, seriously injured at the time, and then that guy just kind of put 2 and 2 together and got 5, and people says he died.
How about that? We have dropped Rushan's first occurrence of fake news on the radio here. Oh, snap, I forgot to start recording this. Nice job, Ali. Anyway, like I said, you're lucky you didn't do this now, because in the era of share robbery stealing accounts, you wouldn't last the day after doing that. But that's how it is. Anyway, let's go to another topic here. This one is one that I thought of. So, remember Panda MD, right? Panda, the old admin, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, how can I not remember her?
Yeah, it's a thing that I haven't been able to piece together. I knew that you and Panda, back in 2011, I guess 2012 too, never liked each other. I remember how you said that you got abused
Oh
a
yeah.
whole bunch, and because I remember I was in game for that, and you were gonna report it to admins and all that. Can you tell me and the audience how Panda used to abuse you?
Well, one situation that does stick out to me was she was doing. It was a capture the flag event, so hidden flags around. I think it was Los Santos at the time, and she planted them around. And basically, she was announcing clues on the in-game chat and on the on-screen text, basically. And I actually found this American flag, and I was there shouting in the chat, "I found a flag! I found a flag!" And she teleported to me, and somebody else come along and like picked somebody else like on purpose. I mean that's not abuse, but I mean the other kind of stuff that she used to do was kind of set like minigun my vehicle, kill me on purpose with her minigun where I wouldn't get an unfair death, kind of like. Why would you do that kind of stuff? But I mean, justice was given to her on a platter, really, which is, I think me and Captain John actually made a thread, and I actually think it got deleted now. But we kind of summarised the kind of abuse that she was doing. We added evidence, and everybody kind of did like a bit of like a kangaroo court, really, and put their kind of opinion in. And it was basically a mega thread. It was like 10 pages long of just pure abuse, but I really don't know where that disappeared to. Probably Crazy Bob seen it and then just took it directly off, or you never know, she probably removed it herself.
So you think all this abuse was just, for lack of a better term, RDM? She just didn't like you for.
Well, she didn't. It wasn't just me. It wasn't actually a number of people that she did it to. I don't know if it was just that I kind of seemed as if she was doing it to me as a bit of an easy victim, but she was doing it to Captain John a lot as well. But I kind of think it was that thread that kind of made Crazy Bob see the true reality of her ways.
So it wasn't only that topic too. You also reported it to admins, but through PM or IRC PM or something.
Yeah. I can't remember any specific details, but I'm sure I would have collated some evidence and sent it to Bob on PM on the RSC. But yeah, I mean, it kind of prevailed. It prevailed really eventually, but it did take a while for her to be demoted.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly. Was it 2011 or 2012 that Panda was demoted? But when Panda finally did get demoted, we thought those topics and all those reports had a huge factor on that. Don't you think?
I'd like to think so. Yes.
Yeah, I should bring it up because back then Panda was one of my favorite admins. Favorite, yeah, Panda's my favorite admin.
But the funny thing is, she hasn't actually been back on the forum since she's been demoted. I don't know if she's just banned on the forum, but I think everybody actually kind of cheered inside as soon as she got demoted. I don't know if that was just me, but yeah.
Oh yeah, it was a few people. After Panda was long gone, hadn't heard in like 2 years. One time had a Steam invite, Steam friend, and it was Panda. Like, oh damn, it's been 2-3 years. But because honestly, at that time, I knew because there was an event in Los Santos one time that you were there. Depleted was there, and I could sense that there was a lot of tension between you two, and I got the vibe that you were feeding this to Depleted. When you were saying, "Oh, I'm gonna report you, Panda," so,
I actually really can't remember, because obviously it was like probably 5 years ago, something like that. I mean, so much has happened on the community, and that it's kind of a distant haze now.
yeah, that was a snapshot that I could get. So at that time, I kind of resented you because I thought that you were a major reason that Panda was demoted. But I understand.
I think with admins, it's kind of you either kind of get caught up in the moment and you kind of don't realise what you're actually doing. I know it's kind of easy to I mean, you've got all those kind of commands at your disposal. It's very easy to get kind of tied up into the kind of fun aspect of being an admin, but you kind of try and have to find that balance between being an effective admin and being a player at the same time. Some admins have cracked it and they're very good at it, and other admins, I'm not going to say anything else.
That's true. I mean, Panda did get, I guess, too comfortable. There are times where I think, hey, I've been admin for quite a while. I can. I mean, I only do this to terrible players. I'll only go with the extra mile. Terrible players. Like if you're a J Daniel, or if you're who gets disabled all the time, Phoenix, say, exit, I guess. If they do one little thing wrong, if they shoot at my car once, get wrecked just like that.
No, I totally understand that, because if I was put in that position of and had those kind of authority, especially people like that have got a known previous record and they're a long kind of member of the community, they should know better really as to the rules of CnR. And a lot of people just do it to provoke on purpose, admins as well, to get a response. So I mean, if they kind of act that way, they need to be prepared to essentially face the consequences.
Yeah, there's a ton of that, but I do miss Panda's events, because besides the Ghost Hunter, I mean, there really isn't another admin that does a ton of events.
No, you're totally right there. I haven't really known an event for ages now. I think the last time that I known of an event was a big event was the 10-year CnR anniversary, but I unfortunately wasn't there for that. But I wasn't in game as such.
Yeah, pretty much whenever players tell me, "Hey, Rashawn, make an event. Hey, Rashawn, put some clothes on me. Hey, Rashawn, put some neon lights on my car." First of all, I forgot how to do all those stuff. And the other thing is, hey, go ask a fun admin, not a fun admin. Go ask a fun admin. Hey, well, we'll get into the second tier topics here. Let's take a break. And in about 5 minutes or whatever, we'll get back. All right, welcome back, every CnR player playing CnR right now, to the CnR radio talk show. We have KyleSmith coming back for this podcast.
What's up?
What's up, CnR? All right, so KyleSmith, this topic here, I was looking at the past few minutes, your final posts on the KyleSmith 09 account that you had. This wasn't one of the topics that I'd written down, but it kind of does segue into the next thing that I was going to talk about. So it says that a player named Headstomper, Gaza member, he said that you were selling CnR houses for PayPal cash. How about that? I mean, I'm not sure if the rule was crystal or in stone back then about selling.
What's the question? I've kind of missed it. Your accent kind
of... No. I didn't ask you yet, but I'm just giving an overview. But I didn't know if it was in stone that you can't sell CnR stuff for cash. But at this time, what you were leaving CNR and you wanted to sell stuff for actual cash? What was
Can you link me?
about it?
I don't know what you're on about.
Oh, you don't? Well, how about that? Oh, I can't show you the topic. You don't remember the last few posts you made about
I'm literally trying
joint
to find
stuff?
it right
Yeah.
now. I can see a picture of Nigel, but that's about it. Um, um,
Okay, well, you don't remember that, do you?
no.
How about that?
Where is it? I'm trying to find it. Did I make this topic?
No, it was a head stomper WBS. He was a Gaza member. Said that you were selling in-game CNR stuff for PayPal cash.
Really, I can't remember actually. I know that I've never actually sold anything, so maybe just nobody wanted to buy it. But I can't actually remember advertising it or anything. I don't know if that's kind of somebody that kind of disliked me, but I can't see a reason as to why I'd be selling it. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. But going on from that, back in the day, you used to actually be able to sell CNR money, and actually Metal Face he sold me about 50 million through PayPal, and I paid him, and he left his money in the house for me. He gave me his house passcode, and obviously I took it. But yeah, that's back in the day.
So you spent cash for 50 mils, you know.
Yeah, yes. I mean, I used to buy pick up pine mansions from Hugo Boss, and lots of other people. But that was obviously when it was allowed, until that kind of new rule where you can't buy anything now.
Got Hugo Boss. Now, Hugo Boss used to always deny that he had multiple accounts.
Yeah, that used to piss me off. That used to piss me off. I remember making a complaint on the forum because he used to have like his username was like Hugo Boss 1 and Hugo Boss 2, and they used to be like these pick-up on mansions used to be like had have his name all over like 20 mansions. It really did used to annoy me, but nothing was ever done about that. But he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's less of a head case now, but because I think I confronted him about it once or twice. I'm like, Hugo, he's like 10 houses, man. And he'd always be like, question mark. And I'm like, I think one time he was like, well, that's my brother. That's my cousin. That's my sister. Jesus. I remember, speaking of Panda finally banned that piece of snit for having 62 houses. But finally, I don't know. I'd like to talk to Hugo Boss and have
I remember one
express.
username. You used to have I don't know if you remember. Do you remember Haribo? Haribo, as you would say.
I faintly remember.
Yeah, he used to have one as well. I'm sure there was definitely connected.
That was a tangent right there. I think Panda actually, a week before Panda got demoted, I think it was after a reset, Panda caged a house, to reserve it. And, and then somebody posted on the forum. And I was like, oh, well, that's not going to be good.
That's ingenious.
It's genius, only if you don't get caught. But there you go. That is dead. Anyway, well, after the PayPal thing I was talking about, those were one of your last posts on that account. But 7 months later, 2013 came around. You joined the forum back under the name Redemption. And to any CNR player, if you see someone join under a word that means redemption, like redemption, comeback, or something like that, you gotta believe that they're not a new player. So, I looked at some of the first posts on that account, and you were helping with the CNR radio, right? This was the revival of the CNR radio. You did the jingles and all that.
Yes. I mean, it was not long after It was probably about a year, 15 months after the kind of scandal with Coed, and I kind of regretted it and wanted to kind of get that kind of not respect, but kind of people were looking, oh well, he's bad, he's all bad, and I kind of wanted to kind of change people's opinions. So that's why I wanted to do something good for a change, and that's where I wanted to get involved with the CnR radio. I did contemplate joining under the nickname Likes a Myth, as that's the reverse for KyleSmith, but I thought that was a bit too obvious. But the admins knew who Redemption was. But yeah, I mean, all I could do with the radio was the kind of jingles and the kind of beat mixes and everything. But unfortunately, they wouldn't let me actually live DJ at the time because of what I potentially could do.
Yeah, because I was sitting there thinking, because I'm pretty sure I remember that I knew that you were KyleSmith, or you were you on their account. And I'm like, but why is KyleSmith? He comes back to CnR after a Snitfest. How is this guy on the radio? I mean, come on, admins. What's wrong with your head? But I don't know. That's okay. That's okay, I guess. It's almost like when Thug Punjabi. You remember Thug Punjabi, right? He used to be a aim butter. He was in the terrible gang with Hal Quits, Rep GSF, and Bouse. Thug Punjabi, he lasted a couple of months before people actually knew that maple syrup was Thug Punjabi.
Oh, I actually didn't know that,
Wow, you didn't know that? How about that? How long did it take for CnR players to catch on to you being KyleSmith?
Well, like a few definitely core people knew, normal players. Majority of the admins knew because I kind of obviously told them beforehand, but I asked them to kind of keep it stum. But it was probably a couple of months before people kind of started realizing who I were.
Yeah, because with maple syrup, there are people like Noise. I don't remember anyone else, but they were just announcing to everyone, "Look, maple syrup, that's Thug Punjabi. Your guy used to cheat. He used to aim, but DM everybody." And that was a secret he didn't want to get out. But now and maple syrup is a changed player, and that's fine. And KyleSmith, of course, you are a changed player as opposed to times in 2011, 2012, and all of that. And last part about this, I know. We all know what the word redemption means. I don't think Cyber knows what redemption means. But at that time, what did redemption mean to you in the context of coming back to CnR?
Well, as I did explain earlier on, you kind of know it's bad deep down of the stuff that you've done. So I knew kind of players kind of had that perception that Kyle's a bad person. And oh, look what he's done. So I just wanted to give back to the community to kind of essentially say, well, I know I did wrong, and I kind of want your forgiveness. So I kind of want to repent. But that's kind of where I seen myself at the time, and what I wanted to achieve from coming back as Redemption.
Yeah, that's understandable. As hostile of a server this server is, and it's true. This is the most hostile server Sam ever played. But ironically, second chances are given very easily here, which I never really understood.
Well, sorry, I got to stop you there. Even though second chances are definitely given, and probably even third, fourth, and fifth chances, deep down, there's kind of still that kind of association as to your past. It never kind of lets you go. It's kind of always lingers around with you like a bad smell.
It's the bad pH smell. That's an inside joke. Hey, well, let's get into some recent year, 2017. Talk about the Halfop Fiasco we were talking about here. So, about a month ago, you got Halfop on CnR IRC. All right, so I misreported on the CnR news a few weeks ago that you and CrazyDriver got it. That would have been a great duo.
Fake
news. Fake news, that was. But the belief around that time was that you must have donated a cash for the server. That's what I'm hearing. A good amount of cash. If so, and if you want to share this, how much cash did you donate to the server at that time, or how much have you donated since the beginning of your CnR playing time?
Well, at the time, I think the last time I've donated a decent amount of money, that was back in October time, and that was $100. I've donated the odd $10 or $20, maybe in the past couple of months, but there was definitely nothing within the past 2 or 3 months that I've donated that could have triggered that Halfop, unless Crazy Bob just started it out as if it was just random. But since I've started CnR, it was probably I wouldn't say since I've started, because I wasn't serious about donating. It's probably since 2014, late 2013, 2014. Since then I've probably donated close to $1,000.
But be humble. Be honest. It's pretty good right there. Some people I think would be embarrassed to say that, but I appreciate it.
It's funny because people kind of say, "Oh, you're buying VOP with it, or you're buying HOP with it, or you're trying to buy admin with it." But the thing is, it's for a game that I've played for 7 years. Well, it's actually longer than 7 years. A server that I've played for nearly 8 years now. You kind of, if you enjoy it so much and you've got the financial ability to be able to give back, you want it to succeed and you want it to thrive. So kind of I'd hate it if the community was to go under because of lack of donations. So you kind of, that's why I kind of give back, really.
If it had been true, I donated $20 in 2010. And that was the last time that I donated.
You donated $20 and you got admin.
Yes, it's 2010 or 2011. And I got admin. But, because back then when you got Halfop, I was kind of like, wow, honestly, KyleSmith getting Halfop. And I was like, now I look at this Halfop list and I'm like, okay, these are the worst Halfops in history. Come on, no offense to these punks in IRC right now that talk snit all day, but these Halfops are a pile of garbage, trash. And of course, I put that on the CnR news and made a thing about that. What do you know? You must have mad about that. I can see why you can be upset about that.
I think back in December when Marcus Reed got the hop, I was kind of not annoyed at Marcus himself, but I was kind of a little disappointed, and that's kind of why I got a little, not upset. Well, I kind of did get upset, but not to the extent where it made me cry in real life. But I kind of had a little bitch fit, and I kind of quit the RSC for, I think it was about actually 3 months. Actually, no, it's 4. I think I joined back on the 1st of April. I rejoined, and I kind of put my lay low a bit, and kind of gradually kind of come back into the community. And then it was about 6 weeks after I rejoined, Crazy Bob literally just says, "Oh, are you back from being upset, Kyle?" And he says, "If you want to hop, you better be on you better log into a registered account." And at the time I was actually in bed, I was on my phone, so I wasn't logged in or anything. And I thought he was actually playing mind games. And I says, "I'm not into your mind games, Crazy Bob." And I didn't log in. And after about 45 minutes, I thought, I'll style it in. So I quickly logged in after about 45 minutes to make it, And after about another 45 minutes, that's when he come back and he gave me the Halfop, which I was actually quite surprised at, really. I thought he was just playing mind games, but he wasn't. But then again, knowing Crazy Bob for how he's been throughout the time that I've known him, he's kind of not the person to kind of play mind games like that. So I don't know why I thought that, but I have to take my hat off to him. He says what he's going to do, and he did.
Yeah. Another thought would be that Crazy Bob doesn't go along with the crowd of the stupidity that happens in IRC all the time. So when people take set on you and make fun of you, I'm I'm a person that does the same thing. But he's like, this guy doesn't deserve this. People are trying to find the scapegoats, and I don't know how he does stuff, but I guess he was like, hey, let's give KyleSmith a thought. Let's see how the server reacts to this thing. But it also confused me how you put Marcus Weed in there, because I was like, hey, when did you meet the guy? When did you meet him in Giants? When did you all meet in Spain?
It was back November the 11th, 2016.
Oh, so this happened after you met.
Yeah, literally about a month after. We actually, I think we was in a bar and we were actually talking about Halfop and who's going to get admin next. And the funny thing was, I think Marcus predicted that Ninja was going to get admin, and he actually got it.
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, there are a lot of people who complain about Ninja Tuna getting admin, and I think I faintly remember 1 or 2 years ago where Ninja Tuna did something. I don't know if it was to me or what that annoyed me, but in the past year, I've seen him, and he's on his own business. He sounds intelligent, and then when he got admin, I'm like, okay, good. Ninja Tuna, nice player, but there are people who don't like him for whatever reason. I'm not sure why.
I don't really know the guy, but personally, from what I've heard, he's a kind of an effective, kind of good admin. He's a good egg, but I don't know. It's up to the people, but the thing is, he's kind of calm and relaxed. So that's kind of the kind of stuff that you need in an admin. You need somebody who's calm and collected. So I kind of do agree that he was actually a good choice, in my opinion.
Yeah, me too. Some of you punks have to give me a reason why he's not. We'll dive into some more topics here on the CnR Radio Talk Show. Let's get some more music up in this bitch, and we'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone playing CnR right now to the CnR Radio Talk Show. And we're here again still with KyleSmith. Remind them that you're still here, KyleSmith.
Yeah, I'm KyleSmith.
Alright. Oh, sorry. Anyway, this next topic is a bit out of left field. I don't want to spend too much time on it because it's not related to CnR, but it's the thing that you and I are common on. But the mini mission server.
Mm-hmm.
You know that, right? Yeah. That was in what, 2015 that you took it over? Was it 2016?
Yes.
I don't know.
I think it was no, it was actually 2016. Yes, 2016.
Yeah. Well, I had been out of that server for quite a while, because word over there had spread that I had gotten admin at CnR, so I had stopped playing it for the most part. Future at the time was the owner, and every couple of months he'd be like, "Hey, John, you're not being active. You gotta play." So that's another topic for another day. But guess I'm going to be honest with you. When you took the server over, I was like, yeah, it's over. It's done. Considering, remember KyleSmith, Scouts and Robbers, and those attempts at it, I was like, okay, this is not going to work. I thought it was going to be a disaster. If I had still been associated with the server, because Future at the time did, ask me for input on stuff, I would have told him, not in a million years do you sell this server to KyleSmith, or to you, rather. But I'll keep going into it. But how would you assess your short leadership over there at that server? Because I didn't really pay much attention.
Well, I think how I kind of knew kind of Future before I bought his server. We was friends just in general, and he kind of gave me he kept taking breaks from the server, and I just offered to says, well, I'll give you X amount for it. For the server, and that's how it went, really. In terms of management, with the kind of structure that was at mini missions, you kind of didn't really need to lead as such, because you had different kind of admins underneath you. I think you had a lead manager, then you had a manager, then you had a head admin, and then you had an admin, and then a moderator, because there's so many people that were always looking to assist the people that were below them. You kind of didn't really have to do anything. All that I had to do really was kind of make new missions and just kind of fix any issues that were ongoing, really.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. I thought you were just dissident, to be honest with you.
No.
Almost like Tinus. Tinus was a co-owner at one time, but he didn't script or anything. I thought that was what.
No. I bought the full server off him, and there was a lot of cancer players on there, really. And it was very hard to control. You had a lot of cheaters, and I could definitely see the player base declining. I think it was way before I bought it anyway. There was a definite dip in player count. I think it started to dip basically as soon as it kind of came back after that Son of kind of mini missions remake. So I kind of saw, well, I need to move on from this pretty rapidly before I'm going to lose my kind of investment. So I sold it to another server mini missions owner. I didn't lose any money, but I got out pretty quick, and I'm glad I did, really.
Yeah, people complain about CnR about cheaters. I mean, you haven't seen cheats until you played mini missions. I mean, they're a lot more obvious, but.
Well, the actual funny part about it now, there was a player. I don't know if it was from your day, but there's actually a player in CnR now called Xard, XAAD, and he's also known as Awesome and Chica with X and Springtrap and all those different usernames. And he was actually a troublesome player on mini missions, and the amount of bans that you had to ban him, and range bans and GPCI bans, he's like basically cancer. And unfortunately CNR is going through this same kind of situation at the moment with him, and I'm sure many other players, but what can you do?
Not much, really. See toxic players everywhere. But earlier you were talking about an investment. When I think of the past owners of the server, Mid, Redirect Left, Future, I didn't think they were in it for what was an investment. Was it? Was buying mini missions an investment first for you?
That's a hard one. I'd say, to be fair, I'd say it's a bit of both. It wasn't an investment in terms of short term, well, because any donations that were coming from CnR that went straight back into not CnR mini missions that went straight back into the server, because at the time we was experiencing a lot of DDoS attacks as well. So that called for a stronger server basically. So we got a dedicated server with DDoS protection. So that absorbed all of the donation funds really. But at the time the server was getting quite a lot of donations really. But again, that just went into it. In terms of the long-term kind of aspects of an investment, I never actually made a penny off of the sale of mini missions.
Yeah. I don't want to spend too much time on it, of course. But so one more question about this. So you sold it to Baramix, right? Mm-hmm. Who is the owner of the Copycat, or what was the Copycat mini game server?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I used to troll that guy's forum. I mean, but when when you sold it to him, man, I just thought that's some absolute bullshit. Because I was so attached to that server. And honestly, even though CnR obviously is the most complex and well-made server in SAMP, in my opinion, screw all the RP servers; they're all terrible. Mm-hmm. And the players there in the prime of it they were excellent people, better than the people on the mini missions. Are better than any person I've been in CnR, and I'm not going to apologize for that.
Yeah, especially the staff members, they're really nice over there. But going on very quickly onto that Baramix guy. At the time, I kind of seen it was the best kind of option. It was either close the server completely and let it die, or kind of let it stay up and kind of be run by somebody who kind of knows what he's doing. So that at the time that was the best kind of option that I had. And I'm okay on the decision that I made. Still, I kind of still stand by it.
Yeah, don't get me started on Baramix. But before I move off the topic, shout out to all the people in mini missions. Trent Edwards, Molly. Who else is on that server? Jesus, I don't remember.
Reese.
No one's gonna know who those people are, but it's a long time ago. Thunder, Albie, all those people. Yeah, let's get off of that. Let's get to the questions. The questions submitted by your fellow CnR mates. We'll get into a few. Then we'll take the break and get into some more. Let's dive into DM Lyon's questions first. I think he's got 5 of them. His first question. Good.
No, it's just laughing. It's 5 questions. That's big.
All right, let's see. First thing he asked, okay, when did you join CnR? We know that already. What has kept you in CnR over the years?
CnR is pretty much an addiction, really. I think I've left CnR like multiple occasions, not permanently, but I've said, well, I'm going to have a break from CnR, and I've probably quit for about maybe 6 months to a few months at a time. But there's something with CnR that kind of draws you back in. At the moment, I'm going through a phase of where I'm on it pretty much daily now, and then I can go to the extreme, the other side of the coin, where I won't play it for months at a time. I don't know what it is, but there's always something that kind of draws you back in. It's a bit like an addiction. I don't know if you feel the same.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it's like when you play CnR a lot for a period of time, the tanks run out. Your CnR desiring tanks run out. And then after a while, you think, okay, CnR is boring. And then you don't play for a few months, and those tanks refill. Mm-hmm. And once they're full again, well, you start playing CnR like you did before.
Yeah.
That's how it is. All right, next question from DM Lion. Have you ever been disabled or banned before? Well, of course, we know we got banned all the time.
Yes.
Any other disables?
Yes, I've been disabled probably a couple of times for DM. Yes, I remember I was actually perm disabled
Oh,
back in like 2010, something like that. I don't know if you remember. There was this kind of food bug, and you could like literally
oh, yeah.
grab a group of people and get everybody to buy your food, and you'd be score whoring, and you'd be player of the day. And I got perm disabled for that. But for some random reason, I got undisabled. I didn't request it, but yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I remember Andre B was part of that.
Hmm.
Right, yeah, I think it was. How long did it take for you to get unperma disabled?
I don't think it was very long. I'd say maybe a few weeks.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't really that big of an issue, just get zeroed. Did you get
No,
zeroed?
no.
Oh,
The
that
funny
was a
thing,
money thing.
I actually didn't. It was more of. It wasn't money that you was getting. It was score,
No, yeah, exactly.
and I didn't get score reset or anything. So I was pleasantly surprised at that.
All you food people, why don't you just sell food to John or something? Anyway, next question from DMYN. What is the best thing that you have encountered in the game over the past years? Tough question.
Oh, that's a really hard one. I can't put my finger on any specific kind of thing that's gone on, but just in general, I really enjoy CnR. So just the overall experience that it's given me over the past 7 years is just more than I could probably ask for overall, but I can't put my finger on any specific thing.
Yeah, me neither. The only time you can get an answer to that question is if the servers were 200 out of 200 again. 200 screaming, angry hyenas jumping around the city, especially LB. That's interesting.
Maybe if we bring lag shot back.
Lag shot back. Lag shot. For all you lag shotians out there, lag shot is gone. It is never coming back. 3 years strong, lag cop. No, not that I'm not that I care about lag cop or lag shot. I'm just saying. Anyway, fourth question from DM Lion. Will you ever do a giveaway for one of your Gaming Dynamics chairs for CnR players? If yes, rig it. So DM Lion knows.
Maybe for 20 million cash. But no, I was actually thinking about this earlier. Because obviously it's not just my business, I have financial investors as well. I can't just give a chair away because these don't cost. These aren't your average £20 IKEA chairs. These are your £200 kind of quality kind of chair. But I was thinking if I was to give one away, unfortunately it would have to be to Europe players, and that's only because sorry to anybody apart from who's not in Europe, but it's the shipping, because these are 25 kilogram boxes. The shipping would kind of outweigh the cost of the actual chair itself. You're probably looking around £200 to ship to somewhere like the Philippines or Australia. I think it's £100 to the US. But if I was to do one, it would be a winner in Europe, unfortunately.
Yeah, you hear that, DM Lion? When the business gets more successful, maybe there will be a giveaway, and maybe it'll be worldwide. All right. Also, I apologize. I'm looking at a different Discord right now. It's as autistic as when you look for a sporting event on the internet, and there are random people talking, and they sound stupid. That's what I'm of right now. I think they know what I'm talking about. Anyway, last question from DM Lion. It's probably a troll question, and you don't have to answer it. But what are your views on CrazyDriver?
No comment.
That's what I thought. Nice question, DM Line, but for real, nice questions, DM Line. Anyway, we'll continue with the submitted questions in a bit. But now let's get back to the sounds of the CNR radio. We'll be right back for some more. All right, welcome back, punks, to the CNR radio talk show with host Rashawn and guest Kyle Smith. We are continuing with the player submitted questions. A lot of questions here, a ton of questions. I guess we're lucky that Warlord's interview cut off because his would have lasted an easy 3.5 hours if we actually had live questions. Let's continue. Let's go to Katch. Katch me if you can questions. Katch questions. Yes, 2 questions. First is, what do you do besides the gaming chair business? Or is that your passion right now?
Is that in terms of what else do I do in terms of income, or just in hobby wise?
I guess, any way you think. Income, hobby, it doesn't really matter.
In terms of income, at the moment, that's all I'm doing. I'm concentrating on that with the investors. But right now we've got a Lamborghini kind of styled chair in the pipework, which is gonna pretty much blow the market because nobody else kind of has that kind of design. But in terms of what else do I do in terms of hobbying, I don't really have many hobbies really, but I do enjoy traveling. As some of you may know, I've been to the United States, San Francisco. I've been to New York twice, and I'm actually going back to New York again in November as well. Yeah, but that's something I really enjoy, going to New York.
Oh yeah, the vlogs. That's also a joke point for a lot of CNR players. But as long as they watch, that's all you need.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Speaking of the investors, which leads into Katch's next question. Actually, let me ask this question now. What's the story about you taking the picture with the 2 Indian fellows, and are they also investors in the Dynamics game?
Well, to the people that don't know what picture Rashawn's on about, it's on the CNR Pictures members thread, and basically that was from a night out that we had. We were at an exhibition, and that was the exhibitors party. So there was a photographer there, and he came around taking photographs. But those 2 guys are the investors, as you can probably tell. They're both brothers. But that night, it was a really, really good night. I absolutely got wasted because it was a free bar. But the problem was we started off on vodka. And we ended the night on champagne. And I actually don't remember. They actually told me that I was sick into the champagne kind of ice bucket, and security had to take me up to my room because I was so wasted. But it was a really good night, yeah.
How about that, KyleSmith getting wasted? And I hate to insult the radio listeners right now, especially if you're from Europe. You CNR European thugs, y'all can, especially the people who are criticizing him for there being 2 Indian guys in the picture. You can suck my fucking cock. All right. If those were 2 white guys, you would only make fun of KyleSmith. But of course, 2 Indian guys. Okay. You ever seen that before, you dumb snit? I hate Europeans, man, I tell you. Anyway.
So the funny thing about that is they are probably the most down-to-earth people that you'll probably ever meet. Even though they're Indian, if you was to have a blindfold on, if you were Stevie Wonder, for example, you wouldn't be able to tell that they're Indian. Really, really nice people. Good. What's the word? They come from a good family, and there's kind of this association of Indian people and being terrorists and all that. But come on.
Yeah, the typical CNR European, the only thing they know about Indians is curry. And as DM Lion would know, because we're both Jamaican, we got We got curry too. Curry goat, curry chicken. It doesn't taste bad. Only thing is it stains your clothes. Anyway, those are Katch's questions. All right, so we have an anonymous question here. Who person who wanted to stay anonymous? It goes like, Rashawn, ask him how much he paid for his teeth.
Um, I haven't. Well, when I was younger, I had braces, but unfortunately, they was taken off a lot earlier than they should have been taken off. So I'm surprised I'm actually talking about this, because then this kind of gives people ammunition as such. But I'm not really bothered. My one teeth tooth at the bottom, I should say, kind of recedes back, so it's not straight. But apart from that, if you did watch my New York vlog, I did get my teeth whitened, and that costed $300.
How about that? I had no idea. Also, shout out to General Price right now. Did you have a question besides what do you think about CrazyDriver? Because if you asked one, I didn't see it. Anyway, next question.
What are my expectations about the new version?
Oh, okay, that's what I was looking at. Yeah, so let's get to that at the end, actually. Next question here is from Marcus Weed. All right. He said question number 1, but I only saw one question from him. He asked, from the hundreds of girls that you matched on Tinder. How many of them did you see in real life or had an affair with? Or at least moved to phase 2 date or whatever?
Well, the funny thing about Tinder is it's a bit like CnR. You go on it for a while, and you get bored, and you come off it, and you go back on, and it just repeats like that. But the problem is with Tinder, since 2000, and I'm kind of going off on a bit of a tangent here. Since 2015, they've kind of turned it into kind of money, kind of whoring kind of app. If you want to get any matches, you need to pay for that shit. So you need to get Tinder Plus. And you need to pay for your Tinder Boost, so it gets your profile out there. But going on from the amount of matches that I've had, I'd say I've probably had close to 100 matches in total over the past few years. But I've actually never met up with anybody off Tinder. The reason why is, I don't know if it's because once you start talking to people, there's only so much you can say on text and on the app before you kind of have to move it to that kind of phase 2, or I don't know, it kind of seems to die off after a bit. I don't know what it is with Tinder, but from what I'm kind of getting from it, it's kind of just like a pump and dump kind of app. But I'm not really after that kind of thing. So that's probably why I'm not really having much luck on Tinder.
There you go. A ton of people use Tinder. So after a while, I had to say, hey, well, let's make our people pay for it. Mm-hmm. But
the funny thing about it is actually girls get a lot more matches. You're talking I'm probably lucky to get maybe 1 or 2 matches per week. That's without any Tinder bonus plus or whatever it's called. But girls probably get at least 10 matches per day. And I don't know if that's because of the amount of boys that are on Tinder compared to the ratios that kind of have to average it out. But it's pretty surprising the amount of the comparison between matches from male to female. I think that's why they want you to pay, so you get more matches.
That's kind of inherent on for women, because men, and there's testosterone and faggery. Oh well, I see Marcus Weed dropped a question too, even though it looks similar to DM Lions. Well, let's see here. Comments on the relationship between you and B-Muck and CrazyDriver. Are you guys planning on winning the couple of the year? for the CnR Awards?
I think if anybody wins couple of the year this year, it's mine and Skeeter's year. I know, but I got time for anybody else this year. In terms of our threesome relationship, that is non-existent. In terms of a twosome relationship between me and BMUK, we've actually, many people don't really know this, we actually know each other beyond CnR. We used to play on another CnR server together, and this was way before CnR, probably 2008, 2009. So that's how I knew him, but then we kind of joined CnR at the same time. But yeah, he's a really nice guy, but he likes to keep his stuff private.
Sorry, BMUK, right?
It's not BMUK, it's BMUK.
Well, screw you, BMUK. I say BMUK. I know that he said that before, but yeah, screw you, BMUK. Anyway. Let's see here. I guess we'll go into Warlord's questions now. Fucking Warlord, he is a mouthful of questions here. First question from Warlord. When the fuck are you going to change your avatar on the forum?
What is my avatar on the forum?
Yourself.
Why am I going to change that? That's a bit of a silly question. I know it's a gaming forum, but it's only the same as somebody putting their pet dog as their avatar. I don't know. Maybe I might change it. No, he says that to something else. I might change it to a different selfie.
How about that? I'm not going to ask all of these questions, Jesus. Let's see here. What do you think qualifies a person to be Halfop in that janitor ranking hierarchy?
What do I think it takes?
Yes.
Well, I would say calm, but I'm not really calm. So that goes out the window. But the thing about it with the RSC, you need to be persistent. You need to be on it pretty much all the time to be able to get anywhere in terms of ranking. If you want VOP, you need to be helpful. You need to try and help the people. And then Hop, I'd kind of say that's a totally different ball game, really. I don't think there's any kind of special recipe to get Hop. It's just you kind of have to be a long-term serving member of the community and a half decent one, I say. But yeah.
Yeah, I just stay quiet pretty much. I talked whenever there was an intelligent conversation going on, which these days never happens in IRC because autism. Meanwhile, last question get from World is, have you been associated in any CnR gangs?
In any CnR gang?
Yes.
Yeah, I was in DMH for one day. Metal Face is like, oh, do you want to join? Oh yeah, okay, sure. So I paid him something like, I really can't remember the figure, 10, 20 million, something like that. And then literally because I was a shit fighter, still am a shit fighter, I got kicked the next day. So I lost my kind of money.
Nice investment, punk. Let's see. CrazyDriver had some questions here. I'm not quite sure if I'll ask them all here. I don't want to go back to Tinder. For fuck's sake. One of his questions I was going to ask later, so I'll ask that later. After seeing the thread about the giveaway that Ralphadinho said, and you said you're going to give a donator status, do you think Ralphadinho is ever going to do a giveaway in the future, or is he just a troll player?
I do think he would give one if the people were to win, but he kind of bets on the side that he knows are kind of really going to win. I mean, look at the Hillary one, the Trump versus Hillary. Everybody was saying Hillary was going to win, and he kind of put that out there, and then Trump Trump won, and because somebody didn't get it within like 1 decimal point, he didn't give it. I mean, if that was me, I'd be rounding it up and giving it to the person who was closest, which is fair. But twice he's done it now, which is a bit unfair. But people are saying, well, you know what to expect. It's kind of gambling. But I don't know. He shouldn't be able to. He should put his money where his mouth is, essentially.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not. I'm actually surprised why more people haven't had, grabbed a pitchfork in that topic. Mainly because most of the people, like Hitman Reborn, I'm not even going to go into that fucking DM Lion, Helen, they post and they have no idea what they're entering. They don't. It's the Stanley Cup Finals. Probably the first time I've heard of it. And okay, I'll go into the Hitman Reborn thing. So again, for Alfredinho, okay, so if the Nashville Predators won the Stanley Cup, okay, then somebody would have won Donator.
Mm-hmm.
So it was after Game 5. Okay, so you have to win 4 games in order to win the Stanley Cup. The Penguins were leading 3-2. Hitman Reborn then said, 1 more game to go. When, if the Penguins won 1 more game, then the thing is over. So obviously, people joining Donator status giveaways, not knowing what it's about. Piece of snip, I tell you.
Yeah. I had no clue how to about that game either. I think people just entered it just for the sake of it.
Yeah, it's just Ralphadini was a troll, a Floridian troll. Like I said, never trust a guy with a Charlie shootout guitar. Okay, I think these are the last 2 questions I'm gonna go with here. First, this is from Kassie. How long did it take between you starting to plan your business? What? How long did it take between you starting to plan for the business and for it to get up and running? And is there any advice you could give to people who want to start their own business one day?
It probably took a couple of months for everything to get started. I mean, I was actually working for a company for those 2 Asian guys that we spoke about earlier, and I was just a general worker, and I knew the company was going to be sold, so I knew I would be without a job. So I knew there was kind of a big market in terms of these gaming chairs, and I knew that there's a gap in the market for a kind of new kind of brand who's kind of cheaper, but comes with quality. So I took the idea to them, drawn up a quick business plan. They definitely seen the potential of these kind of chairs, and it took they liked the idea, so we went in a percentage share. So I don't own all of the business. They've got a share in the business too, but they invested obviously money, and it took about 2 to 3 months before we actually even received our first shipment of these chairs, because don't forget, you have to specify exactly what you want. You have to spec these chairs up yourself. So a lot of planning did go into the kind of back end of the kind of company. But in terms of if anybody wants to start a business, if you have the financial funds to do so, I'd just say go for it, because you're never going to be a millionaire just working just a normal 9-to-5 job. I mean, look at the amount of millionaires out there. Do you know anybody that is just a normal worker?
No, that has $1 million now. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's not the way to be a millionaire. It's all about making your own business these days. And before we go to a break, we're finally going to get to the chair thing. Okay, this was a question that I added on to Kassie, and CrazyDriver also asked. But I'll ask it my way. Now, I don't know a lot about gaming chairs, but also, what is it about your gaming chair that makes it better than all of the others out there?
Well, the thing about it here is that I think it was Zen that was kind of having this conversation in the RSC channel the other week. He was basically saying, well, your chair looks exactly the same as a GT Omega chair. The difference is you can probably pick up a Chinese iPhone and they look exactly the same, but do they do the same kind of things? Have they got the same kind of features? And the difference between our chair and a cheaper brand is obviously you've got the quality kind of aspect. You can have a chair that has 1 inch of foam, or you can have our chair that has 3 inches of foam. The base might, their cheaper base might be made out of chocolate, but ours might be made out of aluminium. So you kind of have to put a bit of money up if you want something to last you. I mean, you can go to IKEA and buy a £60 chair, but is it going to last you the same amount of years as a £200 chair would? So it's all about quality, really. But I mean, for the products that we offer, I don't know if anybody knows it, of a DX Racer chair, but we offer the same kind of quality as a DX Racer, which is a high-end chair, for the price of a cheaper, inferior chair.
How about that? Yeah, because a few weeks ago there was this guy here in America. He was selling sneakers, and he was selling them for outrageous prices, like I guess like $450 sneakers. But there was a point that came up. Well, you don't make a business and then sell for rock bottom prices, because there are people who look at the price and say, hey, I want to feel like something when I buy a more expensive item.
Mm-hmm.
Is that part of the pricing thing?
Well, we really just wanted to kind of fit the kind of demographic of kind of young students that can't really afford a DX Racer chair, because if you can imagine, these DX Racers are like £300, £400, $500, and ours are a lot cheaper than that price, but are getting the same kind of quality. But yeah, that's kind of where we wanted to be, and where we are at the moment.
There you go. Someone buy this guy's chair and take a picture and put it on the forum or something.
Or maybe if somebody might win it in a giveaway, they can put it on the forum.
Yes, Europe only. Screw all of Europe. Anyway, well, that's it for the questions. If I didn't ask your question, and I didn't say your name at all, then your question is terrible. Anyway, let's take the final commercial break. I mean, music break. We'll be back with more KyleSmith. All right, welcome back again to the CnR Radio Talk Show with host Rashawn and guest KyleSmith. We are going to let KyleSmith address his haters, as Polaris would say, BL haters, in a bit. But I guess we can go to one more question here, since it is, people want to hear it, even though I think it's an awful question. Anyway, a question from Ivanici, the chief memer of Europe. He asks, why did you DDoS CnR?
Oh, is that a question for me?
Yeah, that's a question for you, yeah.
Well, I think the guy's got the wrong person, because that wasn't me. That was CrazyDriver. But I'm sure he can explain when he does come and do an interview for you.
How about that? Yeah, there you go, Ivanici. Not all British people are the same. You faggot! Anyway, well, let's go to the haters, the VL haters. All right, so you wanted to address your haters. I'll let you make a statement about that later. But like I said before, whenever I'm in Discord, sometimes they're at the center point of XDs and trolls. And, I admit sometimes I partake in these XDs and trolls. My specific question about that is about, one hater in particular. But how did you and Assassin get into a rage fight? What's the origins of that? What was that about?
I don't kind of think there was anything kind of specific, but it was kind of accumulation of over the past possible several years, and it's kind of come to a boiling point. recently with the hop. I mean, I spoke to him recently. I don't really want to go into too much detail about what we spoke about, but we kind of have put that, hopefully our differences to a side, and we, since maybe the past maybe 4 days, we're kind of going from there. So he just basically doesn't want me to be kind of so kind of hyper as a hop. He kind of just wants me to take a chill pill, as the Brits would say. So that's kind of what I'm aiming to do at the moment, is kind of just to relax and just absorb it, and just to be a bit more mellow as a hop.
Yeah, pretty much. I would expand on that, but I don't want to get into a bout of yelling and complaining in this radio channel about how I feel about both of you. But yeah. Uh, anyway, KyleSmith, rather. To all the fogs in CnR who think you're a cringy punk or CnR's clown show, etc., what do you say to these fogs? Expand on your call to these CnR KyleSmith haters.
Well, it's a funny one, really, because the thing about it is obviously they've had some kind of trauma to their own life in real life to be able to insult somebody so much to they kind of have to pass it on to somebody else. So that's kind of my opinion. But until you actually know somebody in real life, and I kind of hope that this interviews kind of give you an aspect of kind of my life and what I'm actually about, and that the person that you kind of see in the RSC isn't actually what he is in real life. But I kind of have to rise above these kind of haters as such.
Yeah, that's basically my biggest pet peeve with CnR Europeans. Europeans in this server, I've gone back and forth with them because they're people who pass judgments about people the most. When a CnR European, okay, wants to learn about another type of person, for example, this is what they do. Okay, they go on the internet, they go on YouTube,
Yeah.
they search these people, even though after they see it, they take it as fact. They don't have like an external thought of the situation, like, okay, this is making these people look bad, because in these backwater European countries, like, whatever, Slovenia, Lithuania, Latvia, Bulgaria, Macedonia, fuck you, Cyber. When you get up and you look outside, who do you see? Yourself. So, that's the problem I've had with these people.
I think with the kind of people that kind of do this kind of stuff, it's CnR and kind of the internet is kind of an escape from reality of what's going on in their life. Essentially, the kind of disconnect from how they are in real life to kind of a totally different person in game, and on this community. I don't think that everybody is like they are on the RSC and in game. I just think it's kind of a disconnection as to an escape from reality, essentially.
Yeah, I understand that. This community, you're like some players, but
Well, I do want to quickly go on to one person in particular, and that is Snit. I have absolutely nothing against Snit, but I just think he's I don't know what his actual problem is. He's just an egomaniac, essentially. Really, he just thrives people's attention, and he constantly wants to be at the forefront of everything. I don't think it's a clash of personalities, because I'm not really like that over top kind of person who kind of exaggerates and like Snit does and everything. But I don't know what's up with him. I think he might have some deeper issues.
Yeah, I think the same. I don't know. Don't get me started on Snit. I'd have to form thoughts about him to say it. Though, I do glorify his name because I do replace the word shit with snit. And at first he didn't like it, but I hear that he embraces it now. And I'm glad that he embraces it because that is probably the only sign of respect that I can give the snit. But this is not a single out because I don't like very many CnR players, to be honest with you. So he's really no different. Could talk about the Sam thing, but that's for a different time. Anyway, well, I guess last topic here, you want to talk about, I guess, what CnR's future, your future, or your future on CnR. I didn't have anything prepared for that. Just tell me what that's about.
Well, I think I'd kind of like to think that the past, I'd say maybe 3 to 4 years, I've kind of been a good person within the community, and overall, in terms of the 7 years to going on to 8 years now, is kind of a long time to stay at some kind of community, and essentially, I mean, I'd be lying to say that, well, I wouldn't like to be a CnR admin, but it's something that I'd like to say that I'm trying to work on. But going forward, maybe I'm a little while off yet, but I suppose we'll all get there eventually.
Yes, we'll all get there eventually, unless you are a guy who's gotten banned 20 times, like an Albanian or a PH. Well, there you go, guys. That was the CnR Radio Talk Show with KyleSmith. This went a lot longer than I expected. I honestly didn't expect it to be that interesting, but with the amount of troll questions that added to the hilarity. So yeah, that'll do it. I'm not sure who's going to be here next week. No one told me.
I think it's Rackard, I think.
Oh, that'll be interesting. So yeah, KyleSmith, thanks for being here.
Oh, can I do a quick shout out Aguero on coming in game to collect my 150k because I've just shouted you out.
Owned it. But good luck with the gaming dynamics.
Oh look, somebody in CnR, Snit is in CnR.
Oh my goodness.
He's calling me out.
No, well, let's end that before we get into that. But anyway, good luck with the gaming dynamics thing, and I'll be lying if I say that I won't make fun of you anymore because I still will. I think you appreciate that. Yes. But I'm going to turn off IRC after this. But anyway, thanks, CnR punks, for listening to the CnR Radio Talk Show. We'll see you next week.